Hey, there's the mute button for my microphone. Alright. Well, with all of that out of the way, let's see if we can get this biatch started. And I don't know why it takes so long to be able to sound, but it's whatever. Alright. I have a dark. Hey, thank you. Christ alive, dude. Can I play this goddamn game now? Oh my god, eat shit. Yes, I. Fuck. Like, wow. Can I fucking play now? Elden Ring? Like, Jesus. Oh, up that to that. There we go. Waiting for game. Yeah, I've been waiting for an hour now. Christ. Thank you. God motherfucking damn. Okay. Okay, now it's okay. Good. My computer or my controller is still up. Thank. Go to it. Okay, we good? We still rolling on this cunt? That's not what I wanted, but thank you, From Software, you fucking retards. Like, I was holding down the Y button, or the triangle button, but you... Whatever, it's... Oy vey. Well, somebody has... Spur. Aren't you all tryhards? Hold this for me, please. Thank you. Well, come on, big guy. Bye. Okay. I don't know if any of these guys knew at all what they were doing. But whatever. Not my fucking problem. Like, they had Radon's swords. It was like I thought this was going to be the most epic battle of my life, and then they didn't use them at all, so I'm just used now. But whatever. Definitely an overleveled Phantom. I think they were trading items or something. I don't know. Could probably have been that, but yeah, that Phantom was severely overleveled. Not even given what he was wearing, which is the Divine Beast helmet, which gives you a 12-point poison increase. I think it said. I think I said in another stream. But it also takes a lot of stamina or endurance to use because it's a very heavy head, and then on top of that, he needed at least 34 strength, 10 dex, and then 15 intelligence to use those swords correctly. I don't think you can two-hand them because technically you're dual wielding, so it doesn't like split the difference between two-handing it or like yeah, two-handing it because you're actually two-handing it. You're dual wielding it, I guess, is a better word of it or something. I don't know. I don't think the strength requirements can be halved like that. Because normally if you have if you're within 7 points lower of the maximum strength to use a weapon, you can two-hand it and it'll still count as you using it correctly, even if you can't use it correctly. But not for dual wielding weapons, I don't think. Not from what I've seen, at least. Come on. I know you can do it. There you go. My rock fight. Someone got poisoned. Let's add to that. Oh, you're using the Dragon Hunter Great Katana. Okay. I mean, it's one of these fights where it doesn't look like I have to do. Hello. Oh, you actually got him. Oh, come on. That's so gay. Why? Fuck you too, From Software, you batch of chodes. Like, you are so host-friendly, it's not even fucking funny, dude. We get it, you play favorites with the fucking hosts. God damn, why do you have to slap everyone in the teeth with it, though? God. Cringe as fuck, and I'm probably gonna get fogwalled. Mango orang. Okay. Ah, it looks like they're... okay. There's no way you're alone. Take that, please. Ooh, a wizard. Pleasantries are over. Bye. Thank you. Sweetheart, I'm in here to invade, not to duel. Because if I even tried to do anything respectful, you would just gank me like the little shits that you are. Players with no skill band together so severely it's not even fucking funny. And that was my 2. Just gonna call it there, or most of this stream is gonna be just me somehow, some way getting my shit kicked in because the game just loves to do that. I'm not even fucking kidding. The next time I invade someone, if I don't call it at that, I would get somebody at level 60 with 52 int to use Comet and then just spam that 32,853 times because why the goddamn fuck not? So yeah, I upgraded Carl Stephenson. If you don't know who that is, he is named after excuse me, Stefan Karl Stephenson, an Icelandic actor who played Robbie Rotten in a early 2000s, late 2000s TV show known as Lazy Town. I couldn't remember it. So yeah, I like the character and I like the actor because, funny enough, he always enjoyed the memes that came out from that show, especially about him. He just always loved it, and so he's obviously he was a standout guy. He has since passed away due to cancer. I can't remember specifically which one, but that was back in like 2016. Or actually, no, it was 2018, excuse me. But yeah, I thought I'd honor his memory by making a character in his likeness and use that as much as humanly possible because I love the character, Robbie Rotten, and I love the actor. Bro, can y'all get the F out of my fucking thing, please? God damn. God motherfucking damn. Ain't yo house anymore. Fine. And while it's not very well made, I did my best to make Robbie Rotten or Carl Stephenson's likeness into the game. I just essentially took my Giga Chad build or facial look and then just made him normal skin color. I mean, they're kind of the same if you look at Robbie Rotten, but I can't get the... I don't think this game has a pompadour. It'd be interesting if it did. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna go see how hard I can hit Margit because I was waiting until my streaming shit actually worked out just to show you guys and see how well it does. Woo! That is a fucking 2-tap, my homeboys. Holy shit. I was not planning on that. I thought I'd get at least a little over half, but fuck my asshole, I guess. Ah, that was great. Oh, that's funny. So I'm wearing Gaius's armor, which is a little ridiculous looking. As you can see, it looks like I'm getting ready to go play football, American football. It looks like, these look like really oversized shoulder pads. These are all my talismans. This is for more poise, which gives me 96. This is to greatly raise stamina recovery speed. This enhances charged attacks, so just holding down the heavy attack like this, that I did, it gets increased by this talisman and enhances attacks with two-handed weapons. So I'm assuming it's colossal weapons and great weapons, or any, I think I heard it's any weapon that I'm two-handing gets boosted by it, which seems a little bit much, but it's, I hope I'm incorrect in assuming that, and it's just the great and colossal weapons that get boosted. I don't know.
You there? Come over here, would you?
Damn, I almost one-shot him. Too bad I couldn't, but such is life. What you did to deserve this is steal 20% of my total runes every time I fucking die in this fucking bitch of a level. Fuck you too, From Software. That doesn't need to be a thing, but what do I know about game design? That was a one-tap. But yeah, I'm also using Royal Knight's Resolve, which as of the last patch, I think is still... Anytime it's activated, the next hit I do with the weapon, not with the spell because they patched that, and the next hit I do with this weapon when Royal Knight's Resolve is activated, I will do an additional 80% damage, which is lunacy, but it's whatever, From Software. Alright. Eat it. Wait, I want to see how much... Oh. There we go. Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty standard. I thought the blast radius was bigger on that one. Pomp. This is just a big womp build, and I'm all for it. I don't fucking care. I love it. Sometimes you just gotta play really simple, you know? Oh, and I have... Whoops. So I have 2 of these clubs. One is just for strictly building up blood loss on enemies, which is bleed infused version of this. It's the exact same weapon. There's nothing significantly different about this. I just have a higher bleed buildup on it. It gets 190, which is, again, lunacy because they took down a whole 109 points from it in the last patch. But then the occult variant of any weapon when you have high arcane, the occult affinity that I'm using currently right now is just purely based off of your arcane scaling. So as we can see here in the bottom middle of it under arcane, I get an A scaling in it. Whereas here I get a C scaling in arcane, but I get that 190 bleed build, which is not the same as on here. This is purely damage. So yeah, if I want to go for status buildup, I would definitely use the blood one. But if I just want to go for pure damage, which is mostly what I like to do, I go for the this arcane one here. I can show you guys on Godric when I get to him what the bleed status looks like for per damage comparatively. Ew, touch me there. That is my no square. 13, 14. Pretty good. I also have the occult dryleaf arts. Again, occult because yeah, I'm using this for more physical damage with the palm blast than anything else. I also have the Dane's blood footwork because it has a multiple hitting Ash of War with Dryleaf Whirlwind. So I figured if I use that, like, I can build up a lot of blood loss very, very quick. It's 110. That's actually not bad. That's pretty good, all things considered. Then I have some other arcane-based weapons. I have the Flowerstone Gavel. I have 2 of those just because I like to do a build. I also have the... Hang on. I put these back on and up to the... I also have the Putrescent Cleaver. It has shit dex scaling because E is the lowest it can get. It has an E and it has a C and C in Strength and Arcane, which means that it's a Strength Arcane weapon. Which means, so for scaling purposes, or an explanation of scaling if you don't know, I don't know how often you guys play Elden Ring, but scaling means that whatever stat you put into the weapon, like whatever, so for strength scaling, the more I put into strength, the better that damage will be overall. Same with arcane, that's why I have the occult on. Yeah, it's just overall better damage when you level up the corresponding stat. That's all scaling is. It's just beefing up the corresponding stat whenever you put more stats into it. And now that since I have 50 arcane, the scaling is a little bit better. Scaling doesn't always get better. Scaling doesn't usually get better on somber weapons, or if it does, it's like barely any better than normal. Like, if I pull up the Wikipedia right now, I'm sure the Putrescence Cleaver will have like a D in Arcane if I don't have it leveled up at all, which is pretty standard. And then it upgrades itself to a C in Strength and Arcane, but I don't think the Dex stat changes at all. I hate that also damages you. It's like, then what's the point of dodging? Because, like, if you can dodge that, you're gonna eat the whole thing anyway, so there's really no point. Yeah, this weapon's okay. You've seen me invade with it a few times, and I'm not the best at invading, with new weapons. Once I find one that is my weird niche, I'm like a fucking maniac with it. Not to say that all these weapons are bad, it's just I'm not as versed with them as I would be with other weapons like a halberd, which has a lot of reach to go off of itself with. And I also have some great lances here because I like this. This is a very cool weapon. I just wish the running attack was the same as the normal heavy thrusting swords. I have carrion sovereignty on it. Just I'll throw people the fuck off. And then the others have, this has, the poison flower blooms twice. I never really used that one. I've seen it before and I've used it once or twice, but never like consistently. I also have spinning gravity thrust on both of these. This is just pure damage. Again, this is just pure blood buildup, and I didn't notice that it was 161. That is an ass ton of buildup. I also have the Reduvia. I just got that because I killed Nereus with it. I also have the Milady, which I can slap on Millicent's prosthesis to give myself 5 additional points into dexterity while also beefing up consecutive attacks if I use that. And then I have the Ancient Meteoric or Greatsword, which is hands down one of my favorite strength arcane weapons. And I'm very surprised I can roll around with this. I only have 50 endurance, but damn, does it get you through a lot of shit with only 50. Hello. No, please don't get up on my account. Since I'm rocking this for a bit, I might as well put that on. You feel better about yourself there, bud? I know I do. But yeah, seeing as how I can't use this one-handed normally, and more often than not you should be two-handing colossal weapons, because it gives you a 50% increase to all your damage that you do if you are two-handing it. Plus the talisman that I'm wearing that also boosts the two-handed bullshittery. It would behoove you to at least have the minimal requirement to wield this. I have I think that is 7 under. So yeah, you see that red X in the bottom left-hand corner when I'm one-handing it. If I two-hand it here, I don't have that X anymore, and I am technically able to wield it correctly. That's all that means. I'm just doing my best to be helpful. I didn't grab myself arrows. Whack. Oh well, I still have another ranged option. That's fine. Yeah, that does a surprising amount of damage too. There you are. So Godfrey's icon enhances charged spells and skills, and this is a charged skill. That's it, fired off normally, and then this is me holding it down. See, the animation is just slightly slower than it used to was. That's definitely that's a definitely charged Ash of War. So yeah, the Godfrey icon will definitely help with that. This also has incredible range too, but not very good tracking. Sure. You know, using DLC weapons in the main game doesn't even feel fair anymore. Fuck me. Alright, back to this. And a common mistake I'm sure some new players will make is that this enhances charged attacks, which is just holding down the heavy attack until it completely finishes. It is not the same as Godfrey's icon because that enhances charged spells and skills. So unless you have so if you have an Ash of War like the Palm Blast here, this will not enhance that at all, even though it is technically a charged attack. You will always want to use the Godfrey icon because it is it is a charged skill. So this is it normally, and then I'm charging it here. See how the shockwave is a lot bigger than it was before? That's how you know it was charged. And a lot of people will charge that. This is it being charged as a heavy attack. It only charges heavy attacks, the Axe Talisman. Godfrey Icon does not do the same slightest. I just want to clear that up as much as humanly possible. And I'm going to get in there with some bleed buildup. If you enjoy me prattling on about the game as much as humanly possible, please do go follow me here, or subscribe to me here on YouTube, where I make longer form content about me prattling on about the game. I'm gonna be making a long form video about me bitching about 2 magic weapons in the game that are very prominent in the PvP community because of how just utterly horrendously daft their damage is. Like, it is obscene amounts of damage that the game gives them at such a low level, and it's like, that's not really fair when we can't achieve the same thing. I mean, I can, but I have to consume like 4 items to achieve the same amount, or even a fraction of it. I guess I didn't hit him. Okay. There it is. Damn. Oh well.
I am the Lord.
Yeah, you couldn't really see him take any blood loss damage because he just kind of
We
died.
return together to
Oh,
our
this build
home,
is so good. This is my
bathed in rays
big
of
bonk
gold.
bloody build that I wanted to use because I love helping people, especially in the DLC. God knows we all need it. So that's what this build and my other build are for. That's why I have the build I help anytime, which is just a pure bow build. It's kind of meh. I do like that the Rabbath cannon can track very well, same with the bone bow that you saw me have earlier on, this little guy. That also tracks very well when you use the Ash of War, so it's very helpful. Yeah, those are the only 2 really standout bows that do a lot of damage. I mean, the cannon is a cannon, so it's technically a ballista. Not really a... Well, it's a big crossbow. We'll just split the difference there. But yeah, I like that those track. That is very helpful. I just wish more bows had better tracking than just the 2 new ones in the DLC. Bow builds could get a lot of help from that, but saying that, I'm reminded of the spread crossbow that acts like a fucking shotgun if you're, daft enough to take all 10 shots at once like an idiot, or like those builds that you've seen me face in the arena that run that crossbow exclusively, and then they call themselves good even though they're just dodging and running away like a little pissant and just pretty much sniping you from afar. Status buildup in this game has gotten a lot of help. It has gotten the biggest help I've ever seen it probably since launch. Like, status buildup is way too strong in this game, especially on fucking consumables. Like, those hefty pots is fucking Scarlet Rot in one shot. That's a lot, especially when especially when the smaller variant of them it takes like at least 2 pots, depending on someone's resistance. And if you don't know, Scarlet Rot deals damage proportional to your HP. So the higher your HP, like mine, the more damage it will do consistently over a longer period of time. So it's a very good status effect to use against bosses that are weak to it, which is pretty much everything. It's why you'll see me throw them at Mesmer, because a boss's health pool is gigantic, because obviously it would be. So they take a lot more damage consistently and consecutively over the, what is it, 80-second duration. And that's a long time for Scarlet Rot to go in. But you also have things to negate it, like I have Preserving Boluses just for that occasion. You've seen me use the Preserving Boluses on my level 30 build because sometimes people will actually think for a second and have a Scarlet Rot incantation to use. There's at least 2, if you want to call I guess we could say that there's 3. Oh, there's 4 now, actually. I take it back. So there's the normal Rotten Breath, which is a incantation you can get at the Dragon Communion for killing 1 dragon, any dragon whatsoever. Even the magma worms count as getting one of those. You can get the Rotten Breath. Then there's the upgraded version of it, which is Exike's Decay, which is, I guess it's just a little bit more beefed up. And plus you get to kind of float in the air when you cast it. Specifically when you use Exike's Decay, if you're falling and before you hit the ground, if you cast Exike's Decay, you'll just hover in the air and stop your fall damage immediately. It can work for anywhere, I think, which is just insane if you think about it. Then we have the, God, it's the newest fucking, it's the newest incantation. It's the butterfly one that you've probably seen. I can probably just go get it real quick on a different build. It's a butterfly build where we'll have like a swirl of wind and butterflies around us, and then we snap our fingers and the butterflies descend slowly and all dramatic, and that builds up Scarlet Rot not very well. It's a pile of shit, if you ask me, which leads perfectly into the last Scarlet Rot incantation of Scarlet Aeonia, which is a giant flower that blooms when you jump into the air, creating a giant petal of a flower, or giant flower petals around you, and then you land on the ground and it creates a giant shockwave around you that pushes nearby enemies back, while also coating a large area in Scarlet Rot. And that is the most damaging variant of it ever. I think it's like, I think it lasts for like a whole minute or maybe even longer. But with that, it also does, I think, 15% of your total HP. Or something ridiculous. It's a ridiculously high number. I don't remember the math on it, but it's ridiculous is what it is. So, yeah. Thankfully, that's at the end of that's something you can get at after a huge boss fight at the end of Elfile. So there's that saving grace that not everyone can just run around with it unless you're like me, a complete and utter asshole who uses the Grand Merchant mod to shit builds out like fucking candy and consistently. So there's that. You can do that. Yeah, it takes 36 faith to use correctly, and there's nothing you can substitute with. You can't like two-hand the seal to get the spell to work. You need to use you need to have the minimum requirement to use that spell of 36 faith. But that's all it requires, is just 36 faith and the commitment of a dumbass to try to shove it up someone's ass when they're ready for it. And it's not that it comes out very fast, it's a very slow moving spell, so it gives anyone who sees it ample time to get away. It also has a very distinct audio cue when you cast it, so you can like run the fuck away from it any chance you get in there. Which is always the best option, just to run away from shit like that. And then use a Preserving Bolus if you have it, or Blessing of America. Use the Blessing of America because it completely restores HP and heals all ailments. So it's like the hidden blessings in Dark Souls 3. I almost said Elden Ring again. There was something similar in, I think it was in all Dark Souls games. I know specifically in Dark Souls 3 because that's the one I have the most recent knowledge on. There are several of those. Just gravy. Oh, wait. Nah, I'll be fine. Was gonna go for a magic negation consumable, but I'm gonna just go for pure damage because it's how I do. Plus, I think Gaius' armor is gonna do pretty well. But yeah, again, if you enjoy longer form content of me just yapping about this game that I love, as much as I criticize and bitch about it, I do love this game, and I bitch about it because I know it can do better. I know they can do so much better with all the things that I bitch about, and that's why I bitch about it, is because I'm so passionate and enjoying of the game, even if it might not seem like it at the time. Spicy! Oh, yeah! Oh, that was a true one tap. Oh, fuck, dude. I need a cigarette after that. Even though I don't smoke cigarettes, I smoke the, you know, the other one. I smoke the jazz cigarettes, but yeah. Ooh. See, that's what the fuck I'm talking about there, chat. Holy shit. Oh, this is so much fun. I'm gonna try this one because Moongrim can parry, like, automatically. Even if it's a colossal like this one, a great hammer or something like that. It's classified as a great hammer, but it is also a colossal weapon. I think, yeah, colossal weapon. It said right there at the, hang on, right there at the top under Blood Fiend's occult arm. It says it is a colossal weapon because it's big, colossal. I loved how in Dark Souls 3 they were called ultra great weapons, like ultra great hammer or ultra great sword. But here in Elden Ring, they're just called colossal weapons. It's the same thing, but I feel like colossal is a little bit more serious, whereas ultra is a little goofy. Why'd you put your fucking shield away, dude? Why? Why would you do this? Lord. Hello? Okay. Was like, was I not standing on that perfectly fine? Whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna, thank God I didn't eat this because okay. Thank God I didn't use this because I would have stopped moving in its entirety. That's the thing you have to be careful of when using the uplifting aromatic. And the uplifting aromatic gives you the shield, so the next hit you take is severely lessened, but it also ups your damage. And it stacks with the damage upper I have in my flask and the Exalted Fletch, which boosts all physical damage. So Exalted Flesh is wonderful for big bonk builds like myself here. Oh, close enough. Alright, then RKR and send it. Oh, yeah, baby! God, that's hot. Oh, I don't even have this. Bonk. Yeah, by the way, for a quick tutorial on how to beat this boss, if you see her lining up that big Kamehameha wave at the beginning, just walk towards her. Just get to her as fast as humanly possible because the hitbox will not shift down in the slightest. You'll just walk under it every time. But be careful at a distance because the further you are away from it, the more lower it will be and it will actually hit you. It's weird, I know. I don't know how to describe it other than just weird. So yeah, it'll hit you at a distance, but if you're like right up on her ass, it won't touch you in the slightest. It'll just leave you the fuck alone. Alright. That I need to go to the main academy gate, and I'm gonna get myself more coffee, because, oh, I need more coffee. Everybody needs more coffee. Even the tea people. Especially the tea people. Coffee. Never liked tea. To quote Zuko, it's just hot leaf juice. I know that's very disrespectful, but I just don't give a shit about tea. It is horrible. It tastes god awful to me. And I'm sure a lot of tea drinkers can say the same for coffee. And that's very there. We're all entitled to our opinions, even if they are incorrect. I'm kidding. I don't fucking care. You can drink whatever you want. Just don't try to don't just don't give me a long spiel about the health benefits compared to drinking coffee. Like, I don't care. It'll just go in one ear and out the other. I don't need to know that it'll make me live longer if I drink tea or I'll live a healthier life. I don't want to. Like, I'm 27 and I already don't want to continue being on this planet. I don't want to die, but I don't want to continue being on this godforsaken planet anymore. Surrounded by complete and utter idiots who have no idea what they're doing, and they're somehow failing upwards. Meanwhile, the people who actually know what they're doing are fucking drowning in the stupidity of the world. But let's not get into world politics. I'm here to try and instill positive vibes, answer any questions anyone might have about Elden Ring. I'm fairly knowledgeable about a lot of things, especially weapons. The DLC it kind of threw me for a loop. I'm not the most knowledgeable about it, and any knowledge I do have will most likely get changed as the patches come out, because that's usually how it happens. Like, if within the next, let me see, month or so, there's going to be some more patches that come out, like fixes to the game, like patching up a hole or something. Like for example, this 190 or the 190 here might be changed to 55. Who knows? I don't know, but that's usually how From Software handles their biznatch. They usually nerf everything into oblivion, while certain things kind of skirt through. I do have an idea for a video based on the DLC exclusively, because there are some weapons that I feel are perfectly balanced at the way they are, and there are several that are not. Like the putrescence axe at the putrescence great axe that I'm using, or yeah, the big guillotine that I have. I think that's perfectly balanced because it doesn't have the best scaling for any of your stats, and it doesn't have the. It has a status buildup of frostbite, which is what you saw there. Hang on, I'll show it real quick. Just a quick refresher. There you are. Putrescence cleaver. I'm sorry. It has a C scaling in. It has a C scaling in strengthened arcane once again. But it also, at the bottom, has a passive effect of causes frostbite buildup at 55 points. So every time you hit somebody, that is an additional 55 points of frostbite damage. And once that builds all the way up to 100 and you freeze a target, they then take an additional 20% extra damage, extra physical damage, not just any kind of damage, actual physical damage. So spells don't work unless you're casting a physical spell like Rock Sling or Stone of Garank. Either of those are considered physical damage because it's just a fucking rock. So that gets boosted, and then your stamina recovery is reduced by I think 10%, which is kind of ridiculous. So your stamina, if you're not built for stamina recovery, it will come back a lot slower than normally. So yeah. Anyway, this I feel like is a perfectly balanced weapon, especially in the PvP sphere. Or I'm just that hot garbage at using it. But it doesn't have like obscene amounts of damage to it. At the very least, 40 arcane, just to, keep the stat distribution easier or simpler. Yeah, that's how I would optimize myself for this weapon, but I'm not. I'm more optimized for these. I'm optimized for these, which have better scaling in arcane. This has the same, actually this has the same scaling to a T, it just has better bleed buildup, which is fine. Yeah, I think so in summation, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at, is the Putrescence Cleaver is one of those weapons that I feel is perfectly fine the way it is. It doesn't need to get nerfed. If they were to nerf it, I don't know how they would nerf it. Another weapon I feel is perfectly fine the way it is the sword lance. That's fine the way it is, and the miladies, these are fine the way they are too. Like to a T, these are completely fine the way they are. Even if I'm dual wielding these are completely fine. Unless I'm running like dual status builds, like if these are both blood infused. If these have both blood infusion and or poison or hold affinities or what have you, I feel like these are completely fine. I think it's a B scaling in strength. That's actually kind of handy. But yeah, um, with these, I feel like these are perfectly balanced too. Gonna go swap builds real quick just to make another point, just to continue leading into this. There's another weapon called Letta's Needle, I think is how you I think that's what it's called. It is a weapon that it's another light greatsword like the Miladies that I showed earlier. I have it on Holy Diver. I think that's another perfectly fine build, or perfectly fine weapon. However, I take issue with the Ash of War. There you are. I take issue with the Ash of War. See, it's just another light great sword. It has a very nice and fluid combo. I love that about these. But the unique skill for this on Letta Sword is the Needle Piercer, skill of Needle Knight Lita. Generates 10 golden needles which pierce the target all at once. Those pierced are purged of all ailments and special effects alike. So what that means is if I have like, um, for example, if I have if I have one of my buffs that helps me, do more damage, like if I have the spell proof or the fireproof pickled liver here that negates a lot of fire damage for the player if they use it, or the barrier of gold spell I have right here. If I get hit with the needles, that will turn those off. And I think that's a little bullshit because it would be less bullshit if it was easier to dodge, but it's not. And that's my main issue with it, is that they're not easy to dodge. Because it brings me back to another point that I've made several times. The dodge system in Elden Ring is not good. I don't care if I'm mistiming it, I don't care if I'm not doing it correctly. I'm getting hit in the middle of the dodge animation, so it feels like the iframes only exist when you start up the dodge, which just doesn't make any goddamn sense, but it's what it is. Until From Software fixes it, it's a issue that's going to remain. But yeah, that's a video for another time, I suppose. I'm getting too into myself. I'm just yapping away. God, I could probably fill at least an hour of yapping. I don't know. I haven't tried, but I probably certainly could. Uh, oh yeah, hefty fly pods. That's what I did with those. I want to see how well these, because I have not used. I've only used the hefty Rancor pots, the hefty Frenzied pots, and then the hefty Rot pots. So I need to see how the hefty Fly pot works. Oh. That's pretty good damage. Not the best. It's not the best if your target moves around a lot. Ideally, they shouldn't be, but nothing is ever ideal in Elden Ring. And at least these ones don't take any FP to throw, so that's a handy little thing. Bitch. Yeah, honey, you're not that guy. Calm down. Anyway. I need to stop yapping and get back on track. The hefty fly pots are fine. I prefer the hefty rot pots because even in the AoE, they build up extremely quick, and that's always handy. Yeah, I've used hefty rock pots, which get an S scaling in strength, which is lunacy in and of itself. I also have used the hefty frenzied pots here and the hefty rancor pots. I have to say the hefty rancor pots and the hefty rod pots are my two favorites so far because The hefty Rancor pots have a tracking because they throw out like 10 whole skeleton skulls, not skeleton skulls. They just throw out 10 whole skulls that track the target to where they end. Yeah, they'll track it for quite a while and hit like a freight train, so that's always handy to do. You've seen me throw them out on my other Carl Stephenson build, where they where I would mix up the two with hefty rot pot and hefty rancor pot. I would do that on Mesmer because it helps a lot to track it down. I feel like they upped. It feels like it's so weird. It feels like they upped Mesmer's rot resistance without telling anybody, because usually 2 hefty rot pots was enough to Scarlet Rot him, but now I need like 3 to 4. Or I'm just missing too much. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's so weird. Anything is possible with From Software, and you would never really fully know, because it's like that. Coffee. Oh, Lord. Oh, I guess I could be a professional yapper. I forgot that I used to be able to, or I used to fill up 5 whole hours of me just yapping. But I've got a bunch of projects that I can finally get underway, so I'm doing that and getting sidelined by other projects that if I don't write them down and do it, I'm gonna fucking forget about it. Which is depressing. Actually, I feel like with the Moon project, I probably wouldn't forget that because it's such a prevalent issue that I'm very familiar with because it happens so viciously often, especially with the Moon Veil. Moon Veil is like one of the most prominent used uh ashes or katanas to use, one of the most prevalent katanas to use, especially at lower levels like around level 30 to 60, because you barely need any stats to use it. You only need 12 strength, 18 dexterity, and then 23 intelligence. And depending on your character level, you can get up to +5 on the somber weapons, which is the weapons that are unique, like uh that the fucking Lita's need a sword that I showed you guys earlier. That's a unique weapon. Um, the Putrescence Cleaver and the Flower Stone Gavel are unique weapons, so they take 1 Somber Smithing Stone up to +10, as you can see here. Those are unique weapons, and since the at level 60, I've been told that a good level to have your somber weapons at is +5, so up to +5 you can get. Actually, I think fuck, I wrote it down somewhere. I would have to find this sticky note on my laptop. But pretty much once you get out of +3, I think it is for the Moon Veil, you get a B scaling an int. Not that that means anything, because I was cleaving HP off of Margit as a test subject without having to, beef up my intelligence at all in the slightest, and it was doing such high numbers of damage to him. It was ridiculous. So the fact that you don't even need to level up anything else after after you've gotten the minimum stat requirements for strength, dex, and int, you don't at all need to change anything else. You can just cleave people's HP off. And the fact that Moonveil, or Transient Moonlight rather, the Ash of War for Moonveil comes out so fast and hits for so much, not only physical damage, but it also hits for a lot of magic damage at the same time, and a lot of poise damage, which is the damage to a player being tanky, if you will, just to put it in simpler terms. The fact that it can do so much damage to even tanky builds is a lot of ridiculousness. Especially if you were to point blank a shot with Moonveil where you hit somebody with the weapon while doing the Ash of War, because you can do that. It will do whatever physical damage it has, plus the magic damage of the Transient Moonlight Beam on top of it, and the poise damage probably gets increased because you're hitting them with the weapon and the beam all at one time. So it's just crazy all the way around. especially with how easily you can get it. You just have to kill one boss in Caelid to get it, and you can just on my map here. Here's Caelid's area, and if you want to, you can run down here to the Third Church of America, which is right here. If you go out into this little river area here, there's a way gate right here that if you take it, will shoot you all the way up to here. Um, this is the clergyman, beast clergyman site of grace. I don't remember the name specifically, but this is entering Caelid, and this entire area here is Caelid. So yeah, once you get there, you come all the way down to here, and right through here is Gale Tunnel. It's actually right here. For those of you who don't know, as a map key, this is an indicator of a cave or a dungeon cave usually of some kind. So that little speck, that little speck right there is Gale Tunnel. So if you go through there and kill the boss, which is a magma worm, and don't get me wrong, that's still a difficult boss fight, but it's not impossible to do. I know I've done it several times before I even discovered modding. But the speed at which you can grab the Moon Veil and then the very minimum stat requirements to use it is a lot to handle all at one time. Ow. It just makes it very ridiculous for any mage with their salt in the game to use constantly. But yeah, that's my biggest concern, is that Moonveil does way too much damage. There's going to be people in the comments of that video I'm making that are just like, oh, just get good or don't get hit or something to that effect. And it's like, yes, but when it hits you, not if it hits you, when it hits you, it's going to do way too much damage, especially at the lower levels, because there's not a whole lot of resistance you can get up into. I mean, actually, hell, even in meta levels 150 like I'm at, I've had my HP cleaved by 2 entire thirds of it by one Moonveil hit. Even if I didn't take the full brunt of the sword and the moonbeam all at one time, I was still, they still cleaved my HP off of me. And that's not okay, because it literally means that resistances in armor doesn't mean dick if you can just delete people. And I know it's fair, it's kind of fair because anyone can get the sword, but it locks you into that one playstyle, which is just obscenely boring, of just using the Moonveil over and over again, which is why I always teabag Moonveil users at lower levels, or at any level for that matter, because it doesn't take a lot of skill. It just takes you using it once or twice to kill like extremely powerful players and all that jazz. And so it's just a button pressing simulator, so it's not like enthralling or nothing. That tree's gone. So yeah, that's my biggest issue with it. Another huge issue I have with another magic weapon is the Dark Moon Greatsword, which also does obscene amounts of magic and physical damage all at one time, on top of being able to freeze targets with frostbite damage. And again, as I said before, if you're frostbitten, you then take 20% additional physical damage, which I think the sword has some physical damage to it. I'm not entirely certain. I think it does pure magic damage, but if it has some physical damage to it, you're gonna be feeling the extra 20% of it. And you can also somewhat get that early because the requirements are fairly low. It only requires 38 intelligence, which isn't a lot. But I guess the only saving grace of the Dark Moon Greatsword is that it's locked behind a fairly lengthy, however lengthy questline it is, the questline is also fairly easy. You don't really have to kill You have to kill one boss in General Radon, and then you can access the quest line. And then you can just go through that. There's actually, you kill one other boss in Estelle Natural Born of the Void. Ugh. You kill those two bosses, and then bada bing, bada boom, you have one of the most broken, unique somber smithing, somber weapons, unique weapons in the game, bar none. Even compared to other swords in its class, it is just way too goddamn powerful for the game. Especially with how easily you can just use the sword with all the requirements. I mean, hell, even with me just upgrading myself to use or to have the 38 intelligence to use the sword correctly, I think it also requires 16 strength. Anyway, even with just using the minimum requirements for the sword, it still does way too much damage. If it did that much damage when you had like 50 intelligence or even 40 intelligence, that would make more sense. But not the small amount of stats that you need to the minimum stat requirements to use it. That's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous how damaging it can be. And that's pretty much the summation of my longer form video that I'm making. I'm sorry to have yapped about it and kind of spoiled it, but it's gonna be. I hope it's gonna be a little bit more interesting to see it in depth and actually in action because I don't have a build right now to currently use the Moonveil Katana and the Dark Moon Greatsword. So I have a dedicated video to making my points about that. That will come out hopefully sometime next week, if not the week after that, because I'm still working on downloading all my stream highlights from Twitch and sending them over here to YouTube. I'm just cutting out the long-winded breaks I take, you know, from like taking my breakfast break because I need to eat breakfast or I will go insane, and then my second break of the day and all that jazz. I'm cutting those out because they don't serve a purpose at all. I'm not saying anything worthwhile, so it really doesn't matter if I keep them or not. So I'm editing those out, which doesn't take a whole lot of time, but I'm also adding some music to it because I like having more music options to put in because that's kind of fun to do and see what combinations I can come up with. But yeah, considering that was like 5 hours worth of work yesterday, I did that on one video. Maybe I'll just like beef up the music in the game actually. So speaking of, I should probably do that. The reason I have my music turned down in game is because I like listening to my own music. So there's that. And the music isn't like the best unless you get into a boss fight, then it's just pure fucking aura, I guess you could call it. That's another thing I should bring up to From Software is that now the Lanedale Knights, at least that one and the one across from him, not the one shooting at me with the great bow, the other one across from him, like in that small area there, they'll just stand there and take the ass pounding like they are just prepared for it. It's so weird now. They don't even try to fight back anymore. Like, what happened to their AI or something? Or like, their AI isn't registering that the player is attacking them until they're like dead, so it doesn't entirely matter. I just think that's weird, and that's another thing I should bring up with From Software. Since we're going to be fixing shit normally. I don't know how well it does on this. Nope, he understands the assignment. Oh, I should get Moog's Sacred Spear. I don't have that. Unless it has a weird faith or dex requirement. Well, I mean, even if it does have a weird dex requirement, usually they'll be at least 20 or lower. And if it's lower than 20, I can use it because if I use I have 13 dexterity, and if I use the Millicent's prosthesis, that gives me an additional 5 points into dexterity while also increasing consecutive hits. If I use that, then I can use it correctly. But that's only if it has like 18 or so dexterity requirements. I can't imagine it would have anything higher than 14. A lot, especially with spears like that, a great spear like that, it usually has more of a strength requirement than a dex requirement. I feel like great spears should be, or heavy spears or whatever you want to call them, I think they're just called great spears. I think great spears should have a little bit higher of a dex requirement because it would need more dexterity to, you know, maneuver it correctly, especially in real life. I get that this is a fantasy game, but it's largely based in reality. I mean, a lot of this is pretty realistic. As much as a fantasy RPG can be really realistic. Realistic. Bro. Whoa, that's half health. Bro. Damn. There. Whoop. Yeah, builds like this trivialize boss fights, which is fine for what they are, but after a very long while, or after a short while at least for me, it gets kind of old quick. I know definitely in the DLC I'm not going to be cleaving HP off of enemies like that. That's an entirely different animal altogether, but it is what it is. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I like this build as is. I feel like the armor is kind of weird, and I could take 10 points off of 10 points off of my endurance here and then slap it onto arcane for more bleed buildup and more physical damage with the occult affinity. I do like wearing the young lion armor set. I need to get that on the need to get that through the god damn it, I can't think of it. The Grand Merchant mod. Jesus Christ, that was painful. I need to get that through the Grand Merchant mod, and I also need to, yeah, I'll need to respec. So maybe I'll do that a little later. Maybe after Market, I'll do that real quick, just to get the armor, just to see how much better everything does. That does have a large amount of novelty to it. I'm not gonna deny that one-shot builds aren't fun. They are fun, but when that's all you do in Elden Ring, how is that fun anymore? I like a little bit of a struggle, which is why I made my level 30 build. It's a little bit of a struggle, but not like an obscene struggle. Unless I go up against a full goat, then it becomes a struggle, or someone with the with Radon's swords. That is when it becomes a struggle, and I'm not a fan of it in the slightest. I'm gonna record this just because I can, and I think it's gonna be funny. No, I'm not gonna summon Millicent because I don't need her. I'm a strong, independent nutsack. That's from Game Grumps, if you didn't know. What's good, Morgot? There it is. It's phase 2. That's almost death. Damn. Yeah. Bitch. I feel like Exalted Flesh could last a little bit longer, but I understand very much why it doesn't, because that would be ridiculous if it did. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just love the martial arts. They're so good. Okay, touch Wall of Thorns. Stop my recording. There's a separate little function I have here from OBS, even though I see on OBS it also records. I just don't know how to set that up. I could use a YouTube tutorial on how to do that. And with that, I'm gonna rest here.
Allow me, you are prevented the thorns. A husk, the only
I'm gonna
way
go
become
through
uncovered, so I'd like you to
I'm
free
gonna go
them
through the game
and
until I
guide
get to Malekith, and then I'm gonna stop because I don't like going to Malekith's fight. Or I like Malekith's fight, but I don't like going after that. I think it's unnecessary to go any further than Malekith. Yeah, but that's just me. I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick, so BRB, and then we'll get back into more yapping. Alright. And back on the topic of music, everybody, I want to state my flat-ass opinion. Oh, this is gonna get me flayed on YouTube if people see this. But From Software peaked in Dark Souls 3 on their music. Hell, even in Bloodborne, that was great music, especially in the DLC. God, fucking Ludwig's fucking Requiem, or whatever you want to call it, his theme, especially when you get into Phase 2. Chef's kiss. Dear God, did they fucking peak in that, though. They peaked in Bloodborne's DLC, and they peaked hard in Elden Ring. Especially for the, my favorite song in the entire Dark Souls 3 game is the Abyss Watcher's music. Peak aura. Peak fucking vibes. And peak badassery. I don't fucking care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says about any of the other boss music. The Soul of Cinder is an okay song. It's a nice updated rendition of Gwyn's theme from Dark Souls. With a little bit more weight to it, but I just love the Abyss Watcher theme. It's so somber. It's so somber and dark, and it conveys a message of, like, they're lost and they don't know what they're doing anymore. They're just doing the last thing that they remember, which is hunt hollows and the abyss until they die. But they can't die, so they're just locked in a bitter cycle of die, resurrect, all killing each other, the Abyss Watchers. They're all constantly killing each other. They don't know what to do. They don't have anything else to do. They can't do anything else because their duty, sworn to them by the Knight Artorias from Dark Souls 1, dictates that they need to continue doing this. They can't stop because that's all that they remember, because dying so frequently and losing your humanity again so frequently will drive you insane. Especially people like the Abyss Watchers, where that's all they remember is just hunt the abyss till you die.
now.
It conveys a lot of emotions in one song, and I love that in its entirety. I also love Lady Maria's theme. It gives off a sense of urgency and you shouldn't be here energy. I love that for her, and I think it's fantastic. But again, with Ludwig's theme, they peaked. Like it's mystique, power, danger, all at once. It's just perfection. I don't care what anyone's. But yeah, From Software. It brings me back to my point. From Software peaked in those two games in terms of soundtrack. Um, Elden Ring is okay. Eh. Elden Ring's okay, but it's not like, I don't know. It feels so much more meh compared to everything. Even with the boss themes being the way, I can't explain it in the slightest. It just feels different. I don't know. That's just how I feel. That's my personal opinion. You can feel free to correct me in the comments. I'll probably read all of them if there are any. But you know, that's just how I feel about From Software's music. I will give them credit. Elden Ring's main credit or main title sequence sounds amazing. I almost said smells amazing. Like that. It's that I enjoy because it sounds so grandiose and like we're entering a new age of From Software gameplay, which we kind of are. I'm not gonna pretend we aren't in a new era of From Software games. Sure, this looks and operates almost exactly like Dark Souls 3, but it's vastly different. Alright, there's the young lion's helm. Sorry, I'm so passionate about this game that I get lost in the sauce on it so easily. It's not even funny. I could probably yap for hours on end about this game. It's that interesting to me. Oh. Well, alright then. Yay! I was ahead of myself. Well, I mean, I can at least get all my arrows that I want. There we go. Now we need arrows.
What?
I'm gonna get all the fletch in. Because I think these fly more accurately. I think that's what the description says. The fletching adds distance to the arrow's flight. Okay. So they just go a little bit further. That's fine. I enjoy that. I don't mind it. There we go. I don't want to get back into Bloodborne, guys. I know several, or at least a year ago now, I said it was dead to me, but it's really not. I said it in the heat of the moment, and I very, very obviously didn't mean. Bloodborne is one of my most favorite and most overplayed games out of the entire From Software saga. I mean, hell, if it's on PC, I will happily abandon Elden Ring just to play it again, like normally. I don't care. I want my Bloodborne back so bad. I genuinely want my Elden OC back so bad. That's not even. love how I was ahead of myself on that. I was answering a few text messages there. Alright, so with that, I still have an A scaling in Arcane. I have 199 in blood buildup on this guy. I have 88 poise, which is okay for what it is. I should make a build around the Golden Halberd. It's a very good strength weapon. Oh, I guess I can go fight General Radon now. Kinda need to do that to get into the Dulce, the DLC. Said it really fast and like idiot. I want to turn up the shit and brightness here, so I'm gonna make it daytime. Having a day and night cycle in the game is fine. I just wish the game wasn't so frickin' dark at night, but you know, that's what lanterns and lamps are for, and torches and such. 1019 or 1092. Fuck me. 1278, and that was a running attack. 1582. Fuck me. Alright, and let's get fully decked out here. I also love the young lion set. There goes my bubble, but my damage buff remains, asshole. 3384. Really? He's staggering me out of it? I don't give a flying fuck what weapon he's using. No, he's not. He's poking me with a spear from software. Work on your fucking poise and actually have it mean something. Yet another gripe about Elden Ring I could fill another fucking long form video with. Christ almighty. Yeah, I'm Lord. Ta-ta-ta. I don't need that because that is an Ash of War, and it is the Ash of War Determination, which is the lesser variant of Royal Knight's Resolve. I say lesser because Determination, I think, does an additional 60% of damage to anyone hit with on the next strike you do with the weapon, not with any spells. It used to be any spells and such, and that was quite disgusting because you could just use the RKR in one hand and then cast a bunch of spells really quickly in your other hand, and you would just be leaving more HP off of people. So I'm glad they fixed that. That was ridiculous. I know I have 88 poise, but Jesus Christ, Elden Ring, that breaks at least 2 breakpoints. That cracks at least 2 breakpoints for poise. 51 poise will allow you to take at least 1 hit from a regular dagger, and any more poise than that, and you can take like a straight sword hit, or at least 1 straight sword hit, and so on. because you're a putz bag, and I hate you. That wasn't the Erdtree saying that, that was me. I don't like a lot of the NPCs in this game. I mean, some of them are fine. Millicent is okay. I have to like her, sort of, because she's integral to the plot. I don't like her helping with Morgoth's fight, because she does pure holy damage against an enemy that is extremely resistant to holy damage. So it's like, what's the point? Like bringing fire into the Rykard fight, it's just not going to happen at all. It's just not going to do anything other than tick. I probably could have one-tapped him if I hadn't enlisted. That's a Senator Armstrong joke. Those of you who haven't played Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, I haven't, I just know who Senator Armstrong is. He's like the funniest character to meme, and the easiest to meme. One of his lines that I paraphrased was, he used to play football and he could have gone pro if he hadn't enlisted in the Navy. So that's where that joke came from. If I say that, that's the reason why, is because I think that's funny enough to quote. He has a lot of quotable lines, most notably being "nanomachine, son," as to why he's not. I'm assuming it's when Raiden or Raiden, I can't remember which one it is, Raiden was hitting him with a sword that can like vibrate and cut through almost everything, and it's like not doing anything to Senator Armstrong, and so Raiden is like, why isn't it doing anything? And Senator Armstrong just responds with "nanomachines, son." It's so funny. Senator Armstrong is like the most quotable Metal Gear character. I think besides Revolver Ocelot, maybe. I don't know. I played a little bit of Phantom Pain, which is Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. It was It's not for me. I can understand the popularity behind it, but it's just not for me. It's too, I don't know, the controls are weird. The controls are much more different than what I'm used to for even a stealth-based shooter, which I've never played. That was my first foray into the stealth shooter genre, and it wasn't like, it didn't just connect with me like it did so many other people. I guess it's because I was playing 5. I don't know. I don't know what the reason behind it was, but it wasn't it, Chief, for me, and that's okay. I don't have to like every single game. Like with Resident Evil 7, I don't have to like every single game I play. I just, at least I tried Resident Evil 7 before I said it wasn't for me. And I also tried Metal Gear Solid 5, and I said it wasn't for me, which is marginally better than just saying, nah, I don't like it because XYZ. And it's like, a little meh, but it's whatever. You can definitely have a preference towards games. I enjoy Souls-like games more than anything. Hell, among my friends, I'm the Souls guy to talk to if they ever get into it. I have a few friends that are getting into Elden Ring, and they are always asking questions, and one of my friends is like, that's what you have to talk to Sid for that one, and I'm like, yay, I'm important enough. So yeah, they'll come to me for questions and I'll give them answers. Damn, bitch, you cutting that shit real quick? Alright. There we go. How are you not stance broken? Ask and ye shall receive. So to stance break an enemy like that, you'll have to hit them extremely hard and fairly frequently. And once they're stance broken like that, you will have approximately 5 seconds to get a riposte off or hit them again, and they'll still take like a bunch of damage while stance broken, because after the 5 seconds the stance bar will refill and you'll have to do it all over again. And depending on what weapon you're using, you'll do X amount of stance damage. Mine is extremely high because I have a lot of torque behind my hits because of all of the talismans I wear, and it's a colossal weapon. Colossal weapons do a lot of poise damage, which makes them very optimal for just punching through people who think they can tank through everything, which is what I love to do in the arena, as you have seen. But also, I don't think there's any downsides to it, other than just that colossal weapons are slow. One of the biggest colossal weapons to fight in the arena is the greatsword. It's just called the greatsword, but everyone calls it the guts greatsword because that's what it is, or gugs if you prefer. Guts greatsword. Whatever. I would call it the bugs berserk greatsword, but that's just me. Yeah, so to go on to another diatribe, because I have 17 minutes left to kill. When using a colossal sword specifically, you have, when you crouch, a lot of them, actually if not all of them, have the ability to throw out a thrust when you just R1 while you crouch. So here, for example, great hammers have that ability, but oh, I can go get it real quick. I think I have the stats to. I think I need 25 strength to use it correctly. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna use it as a visual aid. Hang on, let me go get it real quick, and I'm gonna have to fight what feels like a mini boss, but is actually a field enemy because fuck you and the player, I guess. Okay, so one of the golems saw me down there. Over that gap I jumped over to get from Dragon Barrow to Kalem Ruins. There is a iron golem with a magic great bow that will fucking just glare at you motherfuckerly and then try to kill you with its shit. I have to kill this raggedy ass bitch because if I don't and go for the sword, it will just attack me anyway. So I might as well just get the fucking asshole out of the way right now. I don't need Target's shackle anymore. Bro, hit him. Thank you. Okay, anyway. Where was I? Oh yeah. The Gugs. The great, or it's just great sword. Let me, there you are. Wow, I need, okay, so 31 strength. Okay. But my point still stands that, with colossal greatswords like this one in particular, when you crouch and then push R1, you do a thrust like that. And if you're very good with it, you can just crouch and poke constantly. Hang on, I'm doing it wrong. Crouch, poke. Crouch, poke. Crouch, poke. And seeing as how it comes out fast, and I guess I could have used this as a visual aid, doing that very quickly, especially with swords upgraded as high as they are, for some weird reason you have a huge amount of poise damage or you're just super tanky. So you can just spam that very easily, especially in the arena. This is all colossal sword users do in the arena, is just crouch poke. It's called a crouch poke because that's all you do. That's all those players do, and it's obscenely annoying because there's not a lot you can do about it, especially if they have like Gaius's armor on or the Armor of Solitude. If they have both of those on, then, or either of those on, plus like the Bull Goat Talisman that I have on, which also raises your poise. It only raises the poise you have already based off of the armor that you're wearing. So like if I took all my armor off, all of it off, I'll show you in a minute. If I take all my armor off, you won't get any poise from the talisman. You'll only get it when you have X amount of poise on your body already. But you can just string that together infinitely, and it doesn't... There's no real way to stop it other than just run away and let them exhaust their stamina, but most of those players know how to just keep up the pressure, and even if you're running away, they're like... Even if you try to run away, there's like so much damage that it does, it's like obscene. I have been killed by so many players just running this in the PvP arena. It's just lunacy. It doesn't make any sense, and it just kills the enjoyment I have personally for PvP, because if that's all you're doing, you're not like utilizing your controls to the utmost. I'll spam something definitely, but that's usually to roll catch or to spam the spammers. Like if you're gonna spam at me, I'll spam at you happily. I don't give a shit how weak I am. I'll happily spam at you. But yeah, I personally enjoy using all of my controllers to throw out as many combos as I can, just to mix things up and not be a complete and utter fucking caveman, but that's just me. Not everyone shares that philosophy in playing in Elden Ring. God knows, no, they don't. God knows mages specifically don't like mixing up anything, because why do combos when I can just press one button and it deletes everything? And the game just lets it. Like, fuck me. Holy shit. I mean, at level 50, or at level 60, I could make a very scumtacular mage if I really wanted to, but I don't because it's so cringy. I find it extremely cringy to just constantly do that all the time. So I don't like doing it all the time. But yeah, that's Decaying Dragon Exykes right there. That's where you get the Exykes Decay. As mentioned before, you get his part and then come up here to the Cathedral of Dragon Communion, and then when you turn it in, you get to get his power and so on. God, that's so disgusting. I have an entire build dedicated to this goddamn fucking sword. It's so ridiculous, dude. It's not even fucking funny how ridiculous. Like, I have everything set up to where I can use that perfectly fine every time. And I will exclusively use that sword. I know I have a few other weapons to like balance everything out, and that's why I also have a bunch of other weapons to balance myself out and, you know, challenge myself to be better at PvP, but especially with the Dragon Halberd, it does a lot of burst damage really quickly, so it does like a lot of damage very, very fast, which is what burst damage is. Especially with the fact that it also frostbites whenever you hit somebody with it. As you saw, or probably have seen in the past on my videos. And the reason I main that weapon on my level 30 is because players will clump up together with groups of 3, and there's very little else you can do to dislodge their groups. Unless, especially even if I have another weapon that hits multiple people at once in a big swinging arc, it doesn't do as much damage as quickly as that halberd does. On top of the fact that the Ash of War, the spinning slash, buffs the weapon with frostbite lightning damage, it also has, again, the ability to negate 20% of physical damage against anyone who is frostbitten, which is going to be almost anyone I hit with it in a full combo at level 30, because their frost resistance is next to nothing. So that's why I main that, because it's a really easy weapon to master, or it's a easy weapon to use, impossible to master kind of thing, I guess. Because God knows I haven't fully mastered it. I still lose some fights with it against people who actually know what they're doing, which is very rare for me to run into. Hell, even the over-leveled phantoms that I run into, most of them don't know what they're doing. They're just there to act as crowd clearing support, I guess. And it's like, that's cool and all, but why is that your only thing to just one-tap everything? Again, it brings me back to my adage of, how is that fun after like X amount of after X amount of times doing it? It just sounds so boring after a while. But that's just me. That's how I play. I enjoy a little bit of a fight, but if you're just gonna sit there and hit one button 13,000 times, I'm gonna just call you out on your bullshit and call you fuck, and then teabag your corpse when I kill you, or if I kill you. Because people like that don't deserve any wins, because you didn't earn it through actual hard work. You just broke your character like an asshole and spammed it like an idiot because you have no other skill whatsoever. Again, you can flame me in the comments all you want on this stream when it gets uploaded to YouTube. I don't personally care. It's not going to bother me too much. I have my personal opinion on how everyone plays this game, and they all probably have their personal gripes about how I play it. I play it more honorably than I probably should, and that's my biggest issue. But it's not that it doesn't speak for it. It's not that it doesn't, like, have merits to it. It certainly does. And I'm not saying that playing like an asshole doesn't have its merit either. It's just there's more to life than being an asshole is what I'm driving at again obviously. Like there's so much more to life than just playing like that all the time. And again, if that's all you're doing to play the game, then I feel like it's not fun. It just doesn't seem like a lot of fun to me. Alright, I have to really concentrate on a boss fight. I have to concentrate on boss fights because they make me actually try here. Hang on, I want to try to reach everybody. Bro, let me hit him, please. Oh my god. There. God damn. Got him. Yeah, this weapon and setup is great if your boss doesn't move very well. Like Morgott, or Margit, Morgott, and then Moog. All three of those instances, I'm counting Margit as, actually, Morgott and Margit are the same person, just with different names, so I guess I can count them together. Morgott and Margit, and also Moog, both can be slammed into the ground, as you saw with the Margit shackle and the Moog shackle, respectively. The whatever named one you have in your hand is the one you use it for. Like Moog shackle, you can only use in the Moog boss fight, or the one in Lower Lane Dell. And then the Margit shackle is the one that you use at Stormvale Castle, and then later on in the Lanedale battlefield, as you saw, and then in the Lanedale Royal Capital. There are 3 instances of Margit fights. But yeah, you can use both of them up to twice before Phase 2. When Phase 2 kicks in, you can't use it. Phase 2 for Margit is when he pulls out that glowing golden hammer. Phase 2 for Moog is when you see him thrust his spear into the air and like heal himself constantly with it. Up to 3. He goes 3 whole thrusts with it, and then you know he stops and whatnot. But yeah, those are the respective boss fights that those are used for. Those are the only 2 bosses where you can halt their movement in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, there's that. And so this build is to make a long story short, it's better for this build is better for the bosses that you can hold down to the ground, like the twin omens, Morgott and Margit. Yeah. I don't know. I should get Moog's Sacred Spear. I could have gotten that with the mod on, but I'll get it either way because I'm gonna kill Moog here next time. Tomorrow I'll be on. I'll try to stream for a little bit longer because I won't be having anything going on. Maybe I'll stream until like, I don't know, 1 o'clock, maybe my time. As it stands right now, however, I'm gonna need to get off because I have a doctor's appointment in 30 minutes, and it's gonna take me about 15-ish minutes to get there. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to be leaving. Do subscribe to me here on YouTube. It helps me a lot, and it makes me understand. It helps me understand better that people actually give a shit about what I'm having to say and what I'm having to do here. I hit 20 subscribers fairly recently, about a week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm very happy to see that. I was I was so shocked to see that I finally hit 20 subscribers, and I'm super happy about it. And I have to say thank you guys so much for, subscribing to me, supporting my channel as much as you can. I know I'm not the most entertaining, monotoned content creator on YouTube. I'm certainly not the first monotoned YouTube creator. Charlie and Rusty and others like me are, a dime a dozen. We all just sound like we're tired with the world and fed up. But at least with Elden Ring, I can have some inflection in my voice because I actually give a fucking damn about this game. I give a damn about all the From Software games I play. Specifically Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, and then Elden Ring. I kind of need to I feel like I don't even want to play Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 because they just didn't hit me as well as Dark Souls 3. Maybe it's because I started with Dark Souls 3 and then I went back to Bloodborne, then Dark Souls 2, and then Dark Souls. I made a lot of I guess I could fire up Dark Souls 2 and make another Invasion compilation about it. I don't know how many people would still be there. And I'm not the best at PvP on Dark Souls 2 because it's a lot more different. But yeah, I like I like Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, and then Elden Ring a lot more than I like any of the other From Software games. I have over 4,300 hours into Elden Ring. I don't even know how much I have for Dark Souls 3 on my PlayStation and or Bloodborne, both on PlayStation. I'll have to look up another tutorial on how to see my hours on that, and I'll have to, feel more proud about those hours that I spent on that game. I know I spent enough hours to platinum both of those games, and I have also platinumed Elden Ring. Platinum, for those of you on Xbox, is getting 100% of all the achievements. So I have 100% of the achievements on Elden Ring, all 42 of them. I have all of the ones on Dark Souls 3, and I have all of them for Bloodborne. I don't have any of them platinum. I don't have Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 platinum, but that's another story. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Please do follow me here on, or subscribe to me here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitch if you like. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back there because I kind of like being able to I kind of like being able to upload my videos or my stream highlights directly to YouTube because it makes it a lot easier on my part. I don't have to download the stream highlights from Twitch and then put it on YouTube. But that means I can't, edit down. I can't take away the long gaps of me doing nothing. But you can just fast forward through that. There's no rule against it. You can just click and scrub the bar out of that area and just get back to me yapping or yelling. It's one of the two. There's no in between for that one. I'm yapping or yelling. But yeah, please do subscribe to me on YouTube, and you can also follow me on Twitter at wolfassist64, and on Twitch it is also wolfassist64. I wanted to make it the same on all three to compartmentalize it and make it simpler for everyone to understand. I don't want to be like Grognak the Destroyer on YouTube, Nazgul Ruth Owl on Twitter, and then wolfassist64 on Twitch. I like the name that I have of wolfassist64, and I wanted to keep it consistent on all three platforms just to make it easy on myself to remember and make it easy on everyone else to remember. But yeah, do go do all of that, and I will see you guys in the next